Life has a way of leading us down paths we never anticipated. Often, it feels as if we're walking along a clear road, only to find an unexpected turn that changes everything. One moment, we're confident in our plans and certain of where we're heading. The next, we're confronted with questions and doubts, wondering how we ended up here. Life, in all its twists and turns, is like an intricate puzzle, beautifully complex, often beyond what we can immediately understand. And it's these surprises, these unplanned moments that teach us the most profound lessons, shaping who we are in ways we could never have imagined. Have you ever found yourself in a situation that felt out of place? Perhaps you had a dream, a plan, or a hope, and then life intervened, taking you on a detour. Maybe it was a job opportunity that fell through, a relationship that didn't work out, or a challenge you never saw coming. These moments can feel overwhelming, leaving us with more questions than answers. And yet, there's something remarkable about them. They hold within them an invitation, a calling to pause, reflect, and seek meaning beyond our understanding. In those moments of uncertainty. In times like these, uncertainty can feel like a weight we carry, a shadow that follows us wherever we go. But even in these moments, we're reminded that we're not alone. There's a quiet comfort in knowing that every path, no matter how winding or unexpected, serves a purpose beyond our current understanding. It's as if, behind the scenes of our lives, a greater force is guiding us, moving us toward a place of peace and fulfillment that we may not yet be able to see. Think of the people who come into our lives unexpectedly, or the challenges that push us to grow in ways we hadn't thought possible. Sometimes what seems like a setback is actually a setup for something greater. We might feel lost, unsure, or even afraid, but in these very moments, we're invited to let go of control, to trust that there's a reason for the detours and delays. A time to trust the unseen. Imagine standing at the edge of a dense forest, unsure of what lies ahead. The path forward is unclear, the way obscured by shadows. But there's a quiet whisper in our hearts, an assurance that urges us to take one step at a time, trusting that the light will eventually guide us through. This is what faith feels like, a gentle reminder that we're walking towards something meaningful, even when we can't see the full picture. In my own journey, I've faced moments when life didn't make sense, where my plans unraveled before my eyes. Yet looking back, I can see how each unexpected turn brought something essential to my life. I met people who inspired me, discovered strengths I didn't know I had, and found beauty in places I would have otherwise overlooked. In those moments of confusion and doubt, I realized that life's surprises often carry hidden blessings, gifts that only reveal themselves with time and patience. It's not easy to surrender to the unknown. As humans, we crave certainty and clear directions. We want to know where we're going and how we're going to get there. But the journey of faith is one of embracing the unknown, of letting go of our need to control every step, and trusting that there's a purpose for every twist and turn. When we let go, we make space for something greater than our plans and expectations. We open our hearts to possibility, allowing life to surprise us with experiences and encounters we never could have planned. And in doing so, we find a deep sense of peace, a peace that comes not from knowing every answer, but from trusting that we're on the right path, even if it's one we didn't choose. Inviting faith into our lives. Life's unpredictability can feel daunting, but it also holds its invitation to faith. When we face unexpected challenges, we have the opportunity to lean on a higher strength, to find comfort in the belief that there's a guiding hand at work in our lives. This isn't always easy. It takes courage to trust that even in the chaos, there's a reason, a purpose for what we're going through. But this faith is a light, illuminating the path forward, helping us take each step with confidence. So the next time you find yourself in the middle of an unexpected journey, remember that you are not alone. There's a divine presence, a quiet assurance that walks with you. It's a force that we may not fully understand, but one that is as real as the air we breathe. This presence guides us, comforts us, and leads us through every twist and turn, reminding us that life's surprises, though challenging, are often the very moments that shape us. A journey worth embracing. As we move forward in life, may we find the strength to embrace its surprises. May we have the courage to release our need for control, allowing faith to lead us where we're meant to go. And above all, may we remember that each step, each twist and turn is part of a greater story, one that is woven with purpose, beauty, and grace. Life has a way of testing us, and sometimes it can feel like we're walking alone through our struggles. In moments of hardship, there's a natural tendency to feel isolated, as though the weight of the world rests solely on our shoulders. But even in these darkest times, there's a quiet promise that we're never truly alone. There's a comfort that comes from knowing we're held, watched over, and cared for by something greater than ourselves. A divine assurance that no matter what we face, we're guided by a loving presence. This assurance isn't just about believing in something intangible. It's about experiencing a peace that goes beyond words, a comfort that seeps into our hearts and reminds us that even when life is uncertain, there is a plan unfolding in ways we may not yet understand. The gentle whisper of reassurance. In moments of doubt, I've found that sometimes all it takes is a small reminder, a verse, a phrase, or even a simple thought that shifts my focus from fear to faith. It's as if in these moments, a gentle whisper speaks to my soul, reminding me that everything will be okay. It's not a loud or overwhelming voice, but a quiet certainty that somehow, despite the struggles, there's a reason for it all. One verse that often brings me peace is, "Be still and know that I am God." These words have become an anchor in the storms of my life, a reminder that even in the midst of chaos, there is a stillness available to us. It's an invitation to step back, take a deep breath, and rest in the knowledge that we don't have to figure everything out on our own. There is someone who sees the bigger picture, someone who understands our every worry, and who promises to guide us through it all. The power of surrendering our worries. We live in a world that tells us we need to be strong to push through challenges on our own, but true strength often lies in letting go and surrendering our worries to something greater than ourselves. When we release our fears, when we choose to place our trust in God, we find a freedom that no amount of control could ever give us. It's a paradox, really. When we let go, we actually gain a stronger foundation, a place of security that no storm can shake. In my own life, I've learned that the more I hold on to my fears, the heavier they become. But the moment I release them, handing them over in prayer, I feel a lightness, a sense of relief that reminds me I'm not meant to carry these burdens alone. It's in these moments of surrender that I experience the comfort of divine assurance most deeply. It's like a weight being lifted, a peace that washes over me. and I realize that I'm not alone in my struggles. Learning to trust in the unseen. Trusting in what we can't see isn't always easy. We live in a world that values proof, evidence, and certainty, but faith asks us to look beyond what's visible, to believe in a plan that may not make sense right now. This kind of trust is a journey, a process of learning to let go of our need for control and to lean on the assurance that, even in the unseen, there is a purpose. Imagine a painter working on a masterpiece. To us, it might look like random brush strokes, colors that don't seem to fit together. But to the artist, each stroke is intentional, part of a bigger picture that only they can see. In the same way, our lives are filled with moments that may seem disconnected or confusing, but each experience, each challenge, is part of a masterpiece that God is creating in our lives. When we trust in this unseen work, we find a peace that allows us to move forward, even when we don't have all the answers. The assurance of being known and loved. One of the most comforting aspects of faith is the assurance that we are known, truly, deeply known, and still loved. Every fear, every doubt, every secret we hold is already known by the one who created us. And instead of judgment or disappointment, we find a love that is patient, understanding, and unwavering. There's a beauty in knowing that we don't have to hide any part of ourselves. We are accepted just as we are. This kind of love is hard to grasp because it's so different from the love we experience in the world. It's unconditional, a love that doesn't depend on our actions or achievements. And when we rest in this love, when we allow ourselves to be fully known and fully accepted, we find a comfort that goes beyond any temporary relief. It's a love that stays with us, guiding us, holding us, even when life is anything but steady. An invitation to lean into faith. Every moment of doubt, every season of hardship is an invitation to lean into faith. It's an opportunity to choose trust over fear, to find strength in the assurance that we are not alone. We may not always have the answers, and the path forward might not always be clear. But in those times, we're given a choice to lean on our own understanding or to rest in the promise that God is with us, guiding us toward a future filled with hope. Sometimes it's the simple act of saying, "I trust you," that shifts our perspective. These 3 words can transform our outlook, reminding us that we're part of a bigger story, one that is crafted with love, intention, and care. Even when we don't see the full picture, we can rest in the assurance that each chapter of our lives is leading us somewhere meaningful, finding peace in God's promises. There's a profound peace that comes from believing in God's promises. When He says, "I will never leave you nor forsake you," it's not just a comforting thought. It's a reality we can lean on. In our most difficult moments, these promises are like lifelines, reminding us that we are held by a love that will never let us go. As we journey through life, may we find comfort in the assurance that we are never alone. May we lean into the promises that guide us, finding peace in the knowledge that we are known, loved, and protected. And in every challenge we face, may we be reminded that there is a purpose, a plan, unfolding in ways we may not yet understand. In the end, it's this divine assurance that carries us forward, helping us to walk with confidence, even in uncertain times. It's a comfort that whispers to our souls, reminding us that we are part of something greater and that we are never, ever alone. Prayer is a gift we often overlook, especially when life is moving along smoothly. But when we face moments of uncertainty, hardship, or fear, prayer becomes an anchor, grounding us in faith and bringing us closer to a source of strength far greater than anything we could find on our own. It's in these moments that we discover the true power of prayer, not as a last resort, but as a lifeline, a constant connection that brings clarity, peace, and purpose. The quiet strength of surrender. There's something profound about turning to prayer in times of need. In those quiet, still moments, we're able to release what burdens us, to lay down our worries and fears, and to invite peace into our hearts. It's easy to think we need to handle everything ourselves, to carry the weight of our struggles alone, but prayer reminds us that we don't have to. Through prayer, we surrender our need for control, allowing us to lean on a strength that doesn't waver. This surrender isn't about giving up or admitting defeat. It's about recognizing that we're not meant to walk through life alone. When we come to God with our open hearts, we're reminded that there's a divine presence ready to carry our burdens, to lift us when we're weary, and to offer us the guidance we so desperately need. In this act of surrender, we find a quiet strength that empowers us to move forward with courage, even when we don't have all the answers. A conversation that transforms prayer is more than just words. It's a conversation, a dialogue between us and the divine. It's a chance to speak our hearts, to share our hopes, our fears, and our dreams with the one who knows us best. And in those moments of open-hearted honesty, something incredible happens. Prayer becomes a transformative experience, not because it changes our circumstances, but because it changes us. Through prayer, we gain perspective. We begin to see our challenges in a new light, realizing that even our struggles have purpose. We find patience in waiting, courage in uncertainty, and hope in the face of fear. Prayer doesn't always lead to immediate answers, but it does bring a peace that surpasses understanding, a peace that reassures us that we are not alone in our journey. Finding direction. Amidst confusion. Life can be confusing, filled with choices and crossroads that leave us wondering which path to take. In these moments, prayer becomes a compass, helping us find our way when we're lost. It's not always about receiving a clear answer or a loud voice telling us what to do. Sometimes it's in the stillness of prayer that we feel a gentle nudge, a quiet assurance guiding us toward the right decision. In my own life, I've found that the answers I seek often come not through my own reasoning, but through the peace I feel after praying. It's as if prayer opens my heart to a wisdom that goes beyond my understanding, allowing me to move forward with confidence even when the path is unclear. This guidance isn't always immediate, but with patience and faith, I've come to trust that the direction will come when I need it most. The comfort of knowing we're heard. One of the most beautiful aspects of prayer is the assurance that we are heard. In a world where we sometimes feel invisible or unheard, prayer reminds us that there is always someone listening. We don't have to have the perfect words or know exactly what to say. We just have to come with an open heart. God understands our needs even before we speak, and in prayer, we find the comfort of being known, understood, and loved. This comfort is especially powerful during difficult times. When we're struggling, feeling alone, or overwhelmed, the simple act of speaking our hearts to God can bring a profound sense of peace. We don't have to carry our burdens alone. We have a divine listener who cares about our every concern, no matter how big or small. In this act of sharing, we find a relief that comes from knowing we are not bearing our struggles alone. A pathway to peace and resilience. Prayer doesn't always change our situations, but it changes how we approach them. Through prayer, we find resilience, a strength that allows us to face challenges with grace and courage. It's like building a foundation of peace within our hearts, a peace that remains steady even when everything around us feels uncertain. In prayer, we find a place to recharge, to renew our spirits, and to gather the strength we need to keep moving forward. There's a beautiful resilience that comes from spending time in prayer. It's not that life becomes easier, but that we become stronger, more rooted in faith, and more confident in our ability to handle whatever comes our way. Prayer equips us to face each day with hope and determination, knowing that we are supported by a love that never fails. An invitation to authenticity. Prayer invites us to be authentic, to come as we are, without masks or pretenses. In prayer, we don't have to be perfect or have everything figured out. We can bring our doubts, our fears, and even our anger, knowing that God accepts us just as we are. This authenticity is liberating. It frees us from the need to hide our struggles or pretend we're stronger than we feel. In prayer, we find acceptance, a place where we can be fully ourselves, embraced by unconditional love. This invitation to authenticity is one of the greatest gifts of prayer. It reminds us that we don't have to have it all together, that we can come broken, uncertain, and afraid, and still be met with love and compassion. In a world that often demands perfection, prayer gives us the freedom to be real, to be vulnerable, and to find healing in that honesty. Building a habit of prayer. Prayer is most powerful when it becomes a regular part of our lives, a habit that we cultivate with intention and devotion. It doesn't have to be long or elaborate. Even a few moments each day can bring a profound sense of peace and clarity. By making time for prayer, we create a space where we can connect with the divine, where we can find the strength, wisdom, and guidance we need for the day ahead. Developing a habit of prayer transforms our lives. It gives us a place to return to in times of stress, a sanctuary where we can find rest and reassurance. And over time, this habit builds a resilience within us, a quiet strength that allows us to face life's challenges with grace and faith. When prayer becomes a part of who we are, we carry a sense of peace with us wherever we go, knowing that we are always connected to a source of unending love and support. Encouragement to embrace prayer. If you haven't made prayer a regular part of your life, I encourage you to give it a try. Start small, with just a few minutes each day. Speak from your heart. Share your thoughts, your fears, and your hopes. You don't need fancy words or a specific structure. Just bring your authentic self to the conversation. Over time, you'll find that prayer becomes a source of strength, a way to find peace in the midst of life's storms. Prayer is an invitation to draw closer to the divine, to experience a relationship that brings comfort, guidance, and joy. In every moment of prayer, we are reminded that we are not alone, that we are loved beyond measure, and that we have access to a peace that surpasses all understanding. Embrace this gift and let it become a part of your daily life. Through prayer, may you find the strength, hope, and peace that carry you forward, no matter what challenges you may face. In the busyness of daily life, it's easy to go through the motions, doing what needs to be done, meeting our responsibilities, and trying to keep everything in balance. But sometimes, in the midst of it all, we feel a pull, a quiet urging to seek something deeper, to connect with a purpose greater than ourselves. This call invites us to seek God with all our hearts, not just as a part of our lives, but as the center of our journey, the source of our hope and strength. The meaning of wholehearted pursuit. What does it mean to seek God with all your heart? It's more than just attending church or saying a prayer when things get tough. Wholehearted pursuit is about making a choice every day to connect with God, to bring Him into every aspect of our lives, our decisions, our struggles, our joys, and our fears. It's about putting aside distractions, setting our hearts on what truly matters, and making space for a deeper relationship that transforms us from the inside out. When we seek God with our whole heart, we're opening ourselves to a journey that goes beyond surface level faith. It's an invitation to experience God in a way that is personal, intimate, and deeply real. In this pursuit, we come to know Him not just as a distant figure, but as a loving presence that walks with us through every season of life. A journey of transformation. Seeking God wholeheartedly is a journey, one that doesn't happen overnight. It's a process that unfolds day by day as we choose to put our trust in Him, even when we don't have all the answers. Along the way, we find that our faith begins to shape us, changing the way we see ourselves, others, and the world around us. The journey isn't always easy, but it's incredibly rewarding. As we draw closer to God, we find a peace that grounds us, a love that heals us, and a strength that empowers us to face whatever comes our way. One of the most beautiful aspects of this journey is that it's uniquely ours. Each of us has our own path, our own experiences, and our own way of connecting with God. There's no one-size-fits-all when it comes to faith. God meets us where we are, in the midst of our struggles and doubts, and invites us to take the next step, however small it may be. Finding purpose in the pursuit. As we seek God with all our hearts, we begin to uncover a sense of purpose that goes beyond our daily routines. We start to see our lives through a different lens, one that is focused on what truly matters. This purpose isn't about achieving success or gaining recognition. It's about aligning our lives with God's will, finding joy in serving others, and using our gifts to make a positive impact. The more we seek God, the clearer our purpose becomes. We realize that we are part of a greater story, one that is filled with meaning, direction, and hope. This purpose gives us a sense of fulfillment that nothing else can provide. It's a reminder that our lives matter, that we are here for a reason, and that our journey has significance, not just for ourselves, but for those around us. The strength to persevere. Life is full of challenges, and there are times when we may feel discouraged, lost, or overwhelmed. But when we seek God with all our hearts, we find a strength that allows us to persevere. This strength doesn't come from our own abilities. It comes from a deep-rooted faith that reassures us that we are never alone. In moments of difficulty, we are reminded that God walks with us, guiding our steps, lifting us up, and giving us the courage to keep moving forward. One of the greatest blessings of seeking God wholeheartedly is the resilience we gain. This resilience isn't about being immune to pain or hardship. It's about finding the grace to endure, knowing that every trial has a purpose, and that even in our darkest moments, there's a light that shines within us. It's a strength that carries us through, not because we are strong, but because we are held by a love that never fails. Experiencing the joy of relationship. At the heart of seeking God is the desire for a relationship, a connection that goes beyond rituals and routines. This relationship is personal, intimate and filled with joy. It's a bond that grows as we spend time in prayer, study His Word, and open our hearts to His presence. Through this relationship, we come to know God not just as a concept, but as a friend, a confidant, and a source of unconditional love. This joy isn't based on circumstances. It's a joy that remains steady even when life is anything but certain. It's a joy that fills us with gratitude, that reminds us of the beauty in everyday moments, and that encourages us to look beyond ourselves. As we grow in our relationship with God, we find that this joy becomes a part of who we are, a light that shines from within, touching the lives of those around us. Inviting God into every part of life. To seek God with all our hearts means to invite Him into every part of our lives. It's easy to keep God at a distance, to talk to Him only when we need help or when things are going well. But true faith is about inviting God into the messy, unfiltered parts of our lives, our doubts, our fears, and our failures. It's about being honest, vulnerable, and real, trusting that God's love can handle anything we bring to Him. When we open our lives to God in this way, we find a sense of freedom and authenticity. We don't have to pretend or put on a mask. We can come as we are, knowing that we are accepted and loved. This openness allows God to work in our lives in powerful ways, bringing healing, growth, and transformation that we couldn't achieve on our own. An invitation for you. If you've been feeling a desire to go deeper in your faith, consider this an invitation to seek God with all your heart. Take time each day to connect with Him, to share your thoughts, your hopes, and your struggles. Open your heart to His guidance and trust that He will lead you on a path of growth, purpose, and joy. Remember, seeking God is a journey, one that is filled with ups and downs, moments of clarity and moments of doubt. But it's a journey worth taking, a pursuit that will bring you closer to the one who loves you more than you can imagine. Through this journey, you will find a strength that endures, a peace that calms, and a love that transforms. So take that first step and see where this path of faith leads you. In a world where everything moves at lightning speed, waiting has become one of the hardest things to do. We're used to instant answers, quick solutions, and immediate gratification. But life, as we soon learn, doesn't always work that way. Often, we find ourselves waiting for answers, for healing, for direction, or for a breakthrough that seems to be taking forever. It's in these times that we're reminded of one of the most profound truths in faith. God's timing is perfect, even when it doesn't match our own. Trusting God's timing requires a different kind of patience, a surrender of our need for control, and a willingness to believe that there's a reason for the delay. It's a reminder that while we see only a small part of the picture, God sees the whole story, and He knows exactly what we need and when we need it. The beauty of divine timing. There's a beauty in God's timing that we often can't see until we look back. When we're in the midst of waiting, it's easy to feel frustrated, wondering why things aren't happening as quickly as we'd like. But with time, we begin to realize that every delay, every season of waiting served a purpose. Sometimes what we think is a delay is actually a gift, a period of preparation that shapes us, strengthens us, and prepares us for what's to come. The strength found in patience. Waiting isn't easy. It's one of the hardest lessons we face. But in this waiting, we discover a strength we may not have known we had. Patience isn't just the ability to wait. It's the ability to keep a positive and hopeful outlook while waiting. It's a strength to hold on to faith, to keep believing even when the answer isn't in sight. This patience, this resilience comes not from our own ability, but from a deep trust in God's goodness. It's a trust that says, I may not understand why this is happening or why I have to wait, but I believe that God's plan for me is good. This kind of patience builds character, teaching us humility, resilience, and the courage to surrender our timeline for His. Learning to let go of our timetable. One of the greatest challenges in trusting God's timing is letting go of our own timetable. We often have plans, dreams, and goals that we want to accomplish on our schedule. But as we journey through life, we come to realize that God's timing is rarely the same as ours. His ways are higher than ours, His understanding deeper, and His perspective infinitely greater. Letting go of our timeline doesn't mean giving up on our dreams. It means surrendering our need to control the when and the how, and trusting that God knows the best way to bring those dreams to life. It means saying, God, I trust that your timing is perfect and I'm willing to wait, knowing that what you have in store is better than anything I could plan on my own. Finding peace in the waiting. There's a peace that comes from trusting God's timing, a peace that surpasses our understanding. This peace doesn't come from having everything figured out. It comes from knowing that we are held by a love that sees the bigger picture. In this peace, we find the freedom to let go of anxiety, to stop worrying about what we can't control, and to rest in the assurance that God is at work, even when we can't see it. This peace isn't a passive acceptance. It's an active trust, a choice we make each day to place our hope in God's hands. In moments of doubt, when the waiting feels unbearable, we can turn to Him, asking for the grace to trust, the patience to endure, and the strength to keep moving forward. It's a peace that reassures us that we're exactly where we need to be, even if it doesn't make sense right now. Embracing the lessons of the waiting season. Every season of waiting carries lessons that shape us in profound ways. These lessons aren't always easy to learn, but they're essential to our growth. Sometimes waiting teaches us humility, reminding us that we're not in control. Other times, it teaches us gratitude, helping us appreciate the blessings we often take for granted. And sometimes it teaches us empathy, allowing us to understand the struggles of others who are waiting too. As we embrace these lessons, we find that the waiting season isn't wasted time. It's a time of preparation, of growth, and of deepening our relationship with God. Each lesson brings us closer to the person we're meant to become, equipping us with the character, wisdom, and strength needed for the next chapter of our journey. The blessing of delayed answers. There's something powerful about a delayed answer. It's in these moments that our faith is tested, refined, and strengthened. When answers come immediately, it's easy to take them for granted. But when we have to wait, we learn to value and appreciate the blessings in ways we might not otherwise. Delayed answers build resilience, teaching us to hold on to hope even when the outcome is uncertain. When the answer finally comes, it's often better than anything we could have imagined. In hindsight, we see how God's timing was perfect, how each delay, each detour served a purpose. We realize that if we had received the answer when we first asked, we might not have been ready for it. The waiting didn't diminish the blessing. It prepared us to receive it with open hearts, with gratitude, and with a deeper understanding of God's faithfulness. encouragement to trust the process. If you're in a season of waiting, know that you're not alone. Every journey of faith includes times of waiting, times when we're called to trust in ways that stretch us beyond our comfort zone. This season may be challenging, but it's also a time of great significance. Each day of waiting is a step closer to the fulfillment of God's promises, a day of growth, of resilience, and of faith. Trust the process, knowing that God's timing is never late. He is at work in ways we may not see, preparing us for blessings that are beyond our imagination. Hold on to hope, knowing that every moment of waiting is part of a greater plan, a plan that is good, that is filled with purpose, and that is unfolding exactly as it should. Life's storms can come upon us suddenly, turning our world upside down in the blink of an eye. These storms take many forms: loss, disappointment, fear, or unexpected challenges that shake the very foundations of our lives. In moments like these, it's natural to feel vulnerable, like we're adrift in an overwhelming sea of uncertainty. Yet, even in the midst of the fiercest storms, there's a place of safety, a refuge that we can turn to: our faith. Faith isn't a magic solution that takes away our problems, but it is a shelter that gives us strength, hope, and resilience to endure. It's a reminder that we're not alone, that there is a presence greater than ourselves guiding us through the waves. In faith, we find a peace that allows us to stand firm even when everything around us seems to be falling apart. The calm within the chaos. There's something remarkable about the peace that faith brings, a peace that exists even in the middle of chaos. This peace isn't about denying our struggles or pretending everything is fine. It's about knowing that no matter how intense the storm, we're held by a love that won't let us go. This assurance gives us the strength to face our challenges with courage, to keep moving forward even when we're not sure what lies ahead. Imagine being in the eye of a hurricane. The winds are fierce, the rain relentless, but in the center, there's a calm, a stillness that allows us to catch our breath, to find our footing. Faith provides that kind of calm, grounding us amidst the turmoil. It's the assurance that, while we may not be able to calm the storm, we have a refuge within it, drawing strength from a higher power. There are times in life when our own strength isn't enough. We reach the end of our rope, feeling like we have nothing left to give, but it's in these moments that faith becomes our source of strength. When we're weary, faith gives us the courage to press on. When we're afraid, it gives us the confidence to stand firm. And when we're broken, it provides the healing that allows us to rise again. Faith is like an anchor, holding us steady when life's currents try to pull us under. It reminds us that we're connected to something unshakable, something that goes beyond our own abilities. This strength doesn't come from within. It comes from knowing that we are part of something greater, something that will carry us through even the darkest of times. The power of community in faith. One of the most beautiful aspects of faith is the community it brings. When we face life's storms, we're reminded that we don't have to face them alone. Our faith connects us to others who share our journey, creating a bond that is both comforting and empowering. In times of struggle, this community becomes a source of support, offering prayers, encouragement, and a shoulder to lean on. In these connections, we find strength that we may not have on our own. There's something deeply reassuring about knowing that others are lifting us up in prayer, standing with us in our struggles, and reminding us that we're not alone. This community doesn't just offer sympathy, it offers solidarity, a reminder that we're part of a larger family bound together by faith and love. Finding purpose in the storm. It's hard to see it when we're in the middle of it, but every storm has a purpose. The challenges we face often shape us in ways we never expected, building our character, strengthening our resilience, and deepening our compassion. Through faith, we begin to see our struggles not as setbacks, but as opportunities for growth and transformation. The storms of life may be painful, but they also refine us, removing the things that weigh us down and helping us discover what truly matters. In these difficult moments, we're given a chance to lean on God, to let go of our need for control, and to trust that there is a purpose unfolding, even when we can't see it. Faith teaches us that while we may not understand why we're going through a particular trial, we can trust that it's leading us to something greater. Faith as a beacon of hope. Hope is one of the most powerful gifts that faith offers. When life is overwhelming, when the future feels uncertain, hope shines like a beacon, guiding us forward. This hope isn't just a wish or a fleeting feeling. It's a deep assurance that no matter what we face, there is something beautiful on the other side of the storm. Faith gives us a vision that goes beyond our current circumstances. It reminds us that our lives are part of a bigger story, one filled with meaning and purpose. Hope allows us to keep going even when we're tired, to keep believing even when we can't see the way forward. It's a light that leads us through the darkness, reminding us that better days are ahead. Building resilience through faith. Every storm we face builds resilience, teaching us that we are stronger than we may have realized. Faith doesn't shield us from life's challenges, but it equips us to face them with courage and determination. Through faith, we learn that setbacks don't define us. They shape us, giving us the strength to overcome future obstacles. Resilience isn't about avoiding hardship. It's about enduring it with grace and faith. Each time we overcome a challenge, we grow stronger, more confident in our ability to face whatever comes next. This resilience becomes a part of who we are, a strength that remains with us long after the storm has passed. It's a gift that faith gives us, a reminder that no matter what we go through, we have the inner strength to overcome. Encouragement to find refuge in faith. If you're going through a difficult time, know that faith is a refuge available to you. It's a place where you can find peace, strength, and hope, even when the world feels overwhelming. Don't be afraid to lean on your faith, to seek comfort in prayer, and to find support in your community. Faith doesn't promise to take away our challenges, but it does promise to walk with us through them, providing a shelter from the storm. Remember that you don't have to face life's challenges alone. There is a love, a strength, and a peace that are always with you, ready to carry you through even the darkest days. Take refuge in this assurance, knowing that you are held, loved, and supported by a presence that is greater than any storm. A shelter that never fails. In a world that is constantly changing, faith is the one thing that remains steady. It's a shelter that never fails, a refuge that is always there, no matter what we're going through. When life's storms rage, we can find comfort in the knowledge that our faith will see us through. This shelter doesn't remove the storm, but it gives us the strength to withstand it, the hope to keep moving forward, and the courage to face whatever comes next. So when you're faced with life's storms, remember that faith is your shelter. It's a place of safety, a source of strength, and a reminder that you are never alone. Embrace this shelter, draw strength from it, and let it carry you through the storm. For in faith, we find a resilience, a hope, and a peace that nothing in this world can take away. In life, one of our deepest desires is to feel that we have a purpose, that our time here matters in a meaningful way. There's a longing within each of us to understand why we're here and how we can make a difference. When we walk in faith, we're invited into a journey of discovering that purpose, a purpose that goes beyond personal ambitions or achievements and aligns with a calling that brings us closer to who we are meant to be. Faith doesn't always reveal our purpose in grand gestures or immediate revelations. More often, it unfolds quietly, piece by piece, guiding us through small steps, subtle signs, and everyday experiences that deepen our understanding of why we are here. Through faith, we discover that our purpose is woven into the fabric of our lives, waiting to be uncovered as we draw closer to God. Purpose beyond personal gain. We live in a world that often defines purpose in terms of success, status, and personal fulfillment. But when we seek purpose through faith, we realize that true purpose is about more than just what we achieve. It's about how we serve, how we love, and how we make a positive impact on the lives of others. Purpose through faith calls us to look beyond ourselves, to see our lives as part of a larger story, one that's filled with opportunities to bring hope, kindness, and compassion into the world. This shift in perspective allows us to find purpose in the smallest moments, in acts of kindness that may go unnoticed, and in simple words of encouragement that brighten someone's day. Faith reminds us that our purpose doesn't have to be something grand or extraordinary. It can be found in the way we live each day, in our ability to make a difference in the lives of those around us. Listening to the quiet call. Sometimes purpose reveals itself not in loud, dramatic ways, but in a quiet calling, a persistent feeling in our hearts that leads us in a certain direction. Faith helps us tune into this quiet call, encouraging us to listen to that inner voice that guides us toward a path filled with meaning and significance. It's a voice that may encourage us to pursue a passion, reach out to someone in need, or take a step of courage towards something new. Listening to this call requires trust, patience, and a willingness to embrace the unknown. We may not always understand where it's leading or why, but as we follow it, we begin to see our purpose unfold in ways that we couldn't have planned. This call may lead us to new opportunities, new relationships, or a deeper understanding of ourselves, helping us to grow into the person we were meant to become. Serving with a heart of purpose. One of the most beautiful aspects of discovering purpose through faith is the joy that comes from serving others. Faith teaches us that our lives are not meant to be lived solely for ourselves, but for the good of others. When we live with a heart of purpose, we find fulfillment not in what we receive, but in what we give. This doesn't mean that we have to do something big or impressive. Sometimes it's the smallest acts of kindness that make the greatest impact. Serving others can take many forms: a listening ear, a helping hand, a comforting word. Through these simple acts, we fulfill a part of our purpose, bringing light into someone else's life. And in doing so, we find a joy that is both humbling and deeply satisfying. A reminder that purpose is not about what we achieve, but about how we love and uplift those around us. Finding purpose in the everyday purpose isn't always found in grand achievements or life-changing moments. Often, it's found in the quiet routines of daily life. Faith encourages us to find meaning in the ordinary, to see each day as an opportunity to live with intention, kindness, and gratitude. Whether it's through our work, our relationships, or our hobbies, we can find purpose in the way we approach each moment, treating it as a chance to make a positive impact. When we embrace the everyday moments with a sense of purpose, we begin to see life differently. We find beauty in the small things, joy in simple tasks, and fulfillment in acts that may seem mundane to others. This shift in perspective allows us to live fully, appreciating the gift of each day and the opportunities it brings to grow, serve, and love. Trusting the process of discovery. Discovering purpose is a journey, not a destination. It's a process that unfolds over time with twists and turns, moments of clarity, and times of uncertainty. Faith teaches us to trust this process, to embrace the unknown, and to remain open to the ways that our purpose may evolve. It reminds us that purpose is not a single goal or achievement, but a way of living that reflects our values, our beliefs, and our deepest passions. As we journey through life, we may find that our purpose shifts and changes. What once brought us joy may no longer feel fulfilling, and new passions may emerge that lead us in a different direction. Faith encourages us to embrace these changes, trusting that each season of life brings new opportunities to live with purpose and meaning. It's a journey of continual growth, one that invites us to become more fully who we are meant to be, aligning our lives with God's will. One of the most profound aspects of discovering purpose through faith is the opportunity to align our lives with God's will. When we seek His guidance, when we open our hearts to His plans, we find a purpose that goes beyond anything we could have created on our own. This alignment brings a sense of peace, a knowing that we are where we're meant to be, doing what we're meant to do. Aligning our lives with God's will doesn't mean that everything will be easy or that we won't face challenges, but it does mean that we'll find a strength and a confidence that comes from knowing we're on the right path. This alignment allows us to live with a sense of conviction, knowing that our lives are part of a larger plan, one that is filled with love, purpose, and grace. Encouragement to seek and embrace. Purpose. If you're searching for purpose, know that it's a journey worth taking. Take time each day to seek guidance, to reflect on what brings you joy, and to listen to the quiet call that leads you forward. Open your heart to the possibility that your purpose may look different than you expected, and trust that there is a reason for each step you take. Remember that purpose is not about achieving a specific goal or reaching a certain milestone. It's about living with intention, serving others, and embracing the opportunities that come your way. Your purpose is unique, woven into the fabric of who you are, and it's something that only you can fulfill. So embrace this journey, live each day with meaning, and trust that as you walk in faith, your purpose will continue to unfold in beautiful and unexpected ways. Living a life of purpose and fulfillment. When we discover our purpose through faith, we find a sense of fulfillment that nothing else can provide. It's a fulfillment that comes from knowing we're living for something greater than ourselves, that our lives have meaning beyond our own desires and ambitions. This purpose gives us a sense of direction, a reason to keep going, and a joy that remains steady, even in times of struggle. Living a life of purpose is one of the greatest gifts that faith offers. It's a life filled with meaning, with love, and with the satisfaction of knowing that we are making a difference in the world. So, as you continue on your journey, embrace this gift. Live with purpose, and let your faith guide you toward a life that is rich with meaning and fulfillment. Hope is a gift that faith brings into our lives, helping us face each day with assurance and courage. This hope isn't a fleeting feeling, but a deep-rooted confidence that no matter what challenges we encounter, we are never alone. Faith gives us the strength to look forward with positivity, trusting in God's promises and knowing there's a greater purpose at work. Embracing hope in uncertain times, life is full of unknowns, and it's natural to feel uneasy when facing them. But hope allows us to navigate uncertainty with peace, knowing that while we may not control the future, God does. This brings a calm and steadiness that help us focus on possibilities instead of problems, seeing the good, even in difficult times. Building confidence through God's promises. Scripture is filled with assurances that remind us of God's steadfast love and faithfulness. When we lean on these promises, such as God's constant presence and His plans for a hopeful future, we find strength to face life with courage. These promises become anchors, keeping us grounded in the stormiest times. Finding purpose in everyday moments with hope, we're empowered to approach each day with purpose, grateful for the small joys and opportunities to love and serve others. Faith gives us a perspective that values the present, finding meaning in the ordinary and appreciating the blessings we often take for granted. Living in gratitude and confidence. Hope and confidence lead us to a life of gratitude. By focusing on what we have, we see the beauty and blessings around us, which brings joy and peace. Gratitude shifts our outlook, helping us approach each day with a heart that is full and resilient, walking forward with assurance. If you're facing uncertainty, remember you're not alone. Faith provides a steady assurance that you are part of a greater story filled with love, purpose, and grace. Embrace each day with confidence, knowing that God's love guides you. Live fully, trust deeply, and walk with hope, spreading light and encouragement wherever you go.